from that those kind of dark days, I told myself I'm not gonna just sit quietly about that discrimination that I experienced, but how do I become more human to those people that who doesn't want to see me as the same people? And instead of like a protesting or screaming and being like making like ugly statement, like I think I want to show up to places gracefully with big smile. I'm a person. I'm a mother. I'm somebody's daughter. Yeah, and then enjoy time together. Saying we don't have to become friends, but we could wave hands, and say hello, and over to some time. Like I think we can feel good. I think I'm already seeing some changes. Some people who say hello to my husband and always like ignore me. Like after like 12 years, this man finally say hello to me the other day.
Welcome to another episode of Uptown Voices, where you'll meet the unsung heroes transforming Washington Heights, Inwood, Harlem, and the South Bronx. I'm Octavio Blanco, a veteran journalist. My co-host, Led Black, is the voice of Uptown. This is Uptown Voices. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Uptown Voices. I'm so glad that you can all be here with me and with my brother, Led Black. Led, how's it going? What's going on?
Doing good, brother. How you doing, man? It's another beautiful day uptown. We get a little of this Canadian wildfire in our lungs, you know what I mean? But, it's New York City, so it is what it is.
Usually when you hear about Canadian smoke, you think you're going to get high off of it. But today, it's a different kind of smoking trees. It's not exactly what we're used to. It's weird out there. The other day we were out there and the sky looked orange.
Yeah, it looked post-apocalyptic. It looked apocalyptic.
Definitely. I just want to make sure to let everybody know that we're doing this weekly. Please subscribe to our podcast. You'll see a subscription button. That's right. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. If you want to donate money, we'll put up a QR code where you can do that. It doesn't have to be much. It can be $1. It can be $1 million. It's up to you. We're here doing this for the people. And I am extremely excited about this episode because we're talking to somebody who I truly respect and who I've known for a long time. Somebody who I've worked with in the past when in another life I was an editor at CNN and she ran the graphics department at CNN Money. And so we spent a lot of time working together, and it's just so fantastic. This is the second guest that we've had uptown of former CNN people that are now artists and painters. Yeah. So without further ado, I want to introduce and say hello to Tomo Mori. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing, Tomo?
Great. Thank you so much for introduction. Doing great. Outside it's a little scary, but good.
Yeah, where to start? Let's start just with what's coming up. Since we're just getting the podcast episode going, let us know, Tomo, you've got some pretty exciting events that are coming up, or at least one that I know of. Can you tell us a little bit of what's coming up on your calendar for people to check out?
So currently, Columbia University Wallach Gallery have exhibition about Children's Art Carnival, current artist in resident, and also teaching artists, and also helping their marketing. So I'm in the exhibition, and I built 18-foot high fiber art installation. Gonna miss it. I was having anxiety if it's gonna work out, and it did work out. So I'm in a place to celebrate right now. There was a talk with Sol Rio and Dionis Ortiz last segment, so I'm sure that they covered a lot of that. So that's the current exhibition, and it's up till September 13th. So you have a whole summer to visit. It's really amazing exhibition. It's like a time machine with love of like Betty Blayton-Taylor, who's the founder of Children's Art Carnival. And I was friend with her as an artist. My first commercial art gallery show in 2011, I was showing her work. And I was bragging to everyone, like, I'm showing my work with Betty right there. No, I was just like, it was only like for second year I was exhibiting work. So it was really exciting. And she and I were friends since then. And in the fall, I have a group exhibition of women craft artists in Brooklyn, St. Joseph College. And more information is coming soon on my social media.
I'm always amazed how many people Octavio knows that he's worked with. You know, it's kind of amazing. So, were you making art at that point when you were working for CNN?
Actually, I was, but I wasn't showing any of my work. Like, it was like my art was kind of like an ex-boyfriend I love so much. Like, so what happened was I came to US to study contemporary art, but my father's heart condition was always kind of unstable. And then my sophomore year, he had to have a major surgery. So I knew that I just won't be able to have a career like art that is very financially unstable. So I switched my major to video and then interned some video companies, and then I hated it, and I actually really loved the post production of video. So that's how I got into like multimedia and graphic design. And around the time that I was graduating, he was able to interview with CNN, and that's how I got in. But it was really sad to give up. It's almost kind of like, okay, it's all or nothing kind of thing. Like, I didn't want to be in the art halfway. So I was painting for myself, but I just kind of gave up on the career at one point. Like, I was just like, okay, well, like Grandma Moses, like maybe I'll just get back to it when I'm like old. But for now, like, my family needs my support, so I'll just do career that gives me paycheck. So that's kind of like I didn't go to museum much. Like, so that 15 years or so, like I'm kind of like it's blank. Like, I don't know
Right.
of what happened in the art world because I just kind of try not to see it. But I kept in touch with some, friends from school. I was happy with their career. And when my father died in 2009, that was the time that I just really thought about what I wanted to do for my life. And then I had a apartment. It's like it was a land stabilized apartment, but it was a very expensive small apartment on 14th Street. And I just like, okay, well, am I choosing my life to pay for this rent? Pay this rent, like which is making
Right.
rich people richer, and
Hmm.
like just job that I didn't really wanted to do anymore. I mean, I wasn't with CNN, but already like I moved on to another media company, but just like okay, well, I wanted to paint, I wanted to do art, and how do I do that? That was one of the reasons that I came to Harlem.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when was it that you came to Harlem? What year was it because
That
you've
was
been in Harlem for a minute now.
2010. Yeah.
So, it's amazing though that it's like you had a whole life change from one day to the next. And, that's a brave step, right? Again, to make that, but it almost feels like that choice was made for you. You had to just follow. Can you tell me more about that process, right? Like you threw yourself into what you wanted to do. That must have been fulfilling, but also very frightening.
Yeah. So I gave myself 18 months. Like it's almost kind of like probation. It's like, okay, so I'll give myself 18 months to see what I can do in art. And if it's not going anywhere, I can, again, I guess, get my graphic design job back somewhere. Right. If I give myself 2 years, that would be too long. I'll never want to come back. But 1 year is too short. So 18 months was a year and a half was the time that I set it to myself. And then that 18 months, many things happened. Like that show with Betty Blayton-Taylor. I got in to propose for MTA Art and Transit project. I didn't get that commission, but was semi-finalist. So like it just kind of give me ideas that like maybe I can make it. Maybe I can do this. And also Harlem artists were very, very welcoming. Like I was applying for a bunch of different things downtown, and I didn't get in anything. But then slowly I start making friends in Uptown artists, and through artists, like they were inviting Tomo, like, why don't you join this exhibition, that exhibition? And I, like, for this first year, I already had a many exhibition that I was able to participate. And each time work was better because I was motivated to do more and kind of learn how to talk about my work. And yeah, so that's how I got started.
It's a beautiful story.
That is a beautiful story. And it's also beautiful that you were able to move to a place and make friends. So can you tell me a little bit about how did that happen? Like, is it just because you're a social butterfly and you're able to make friends wherever you go? Or did you join artistic organizations and support organizations that support artists? How is it that you were able to make friends and become part of the community of Harlem artists?
Yeah, I just kind of looked it up and then went to some different openings, to support the local artists, and also kind of my own research, like where are the places that I can possibly apply. I think organizations and galleries, small galleries, they all kind of changed so that some of them don't exist anymore. But also, I did volunteer for a few nonprofits since I have a design skill that everybody can use that. So I helped a few organizations, and then from there, I connected to some local curators, and then they were really extremely helpful. So, just kind of like I put a little bit of what I can do, and then they gave me a lot love. Yeah.
And just being uptown, I've seen your work. I think you were in a NOMA, at least one NOMA exhibit, right?
I did a few times. Yeah, I've shown a
Yeah.
few times.
And your work varies so much. It's like it's painting, sculpture. How will you define yourself as an artist?
I think if I have to categorize, I am a painter. Even I'm doing like a five art work, like I'm still painting with it, but it's been interesting. I never imagined that I'll do some kind of like a sculptural work. There's a little bit of trauma in my sculpture history. Like I went to fine art high school in Japan, kind of like LaGuardia, but smaller. City of Tokyo funded special gifted school. But the sculpture teacher, some reason, did not like me or my work at all. That I always got really, really bad grade. So, so, so I just kind of told myself that I guess I just don't have sculptural talent. But then, like later, I thought about it. It's a one instructor.
Right.
Yeah, he just didn't like me, and then that shouldn't rule what I want to do, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Very.
So I'm just happy that I realized that it wasn't like 5, 6 teacher or like, gave me C. It was one guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna repaint that history. Who cares what grade I was getting in high school? That shouldn't control my life. So
I mean, that's such a healthy way to look at it. And I'm so glad that you were able to kind of come to that realization. I think a lot of people, especially in their formative years, when they have somebody in authority who seems to tell them that they're not good at something, they believe it and they don't even review that and say, like what you said, well, wait a minute, that's just one person. So
mhm,
I'm so happy that you did that because your art, your sculptural art, it has so much like motion to it. It's tangled, it's colorful. I feel different kind of feelings and emotions in each piece, right? They're very complicated. So I really enjoy your sculptural work. And like I was saying, I love your paintings where you put up in the background here, there's one example. Looks like waterfalls from the way I look at it, from here. And your paintings also, I feel, in a way, have a little bit of a sculptural because they're textured, they're pixelated, they're colorful, and they're large. Tell me a little bit about, like, what is it that you're expressing in your artwork? What is it that you're trying to let the viewer sort of feel?
so I use for the paintings, I make tiles with fabric scrap and then cut them into squares or some kind of shape, and then use it like almost like a mosaic, and then collage them onto the background. But each, like I use fabric from all over the world. which is really important to include everything and everybody. And then fabric patterns to me is evidence of joy. We don't have to wear pattern anything, could if it just to protect skin, like it could be just solid color, white or whatever. Like, but we chose to wear colors of fabric or like pattern fabric, and somebody back in time, ancestral people, like came up with these patterns with joy, either like a tribal pride or, and it's universal. Every country, every place is like they had some kind of pattern and they wore it, and so that's like, I don't know, it makes me happy that it is universal. And then it's like expressions are different, but like I can see like how they appreciate the nature. There's like a lot of floral patterns from different places, but we want the same thing. We enjoy same thing in a way. The expression may be different. So that's how I want to both work. I like to use pattern from all over the world, as many colors as possible. Not, I don't mean in it so much of race or like background, but they're like different emotions we all carry in different days. And like an aggregate of those things together, it forms some kind of world, a vision. And that's what I'm trying to. And some things are complex and it like tangled or like more out of control kind of like expression. And then some things are more uniform in one line, or like, there are different forms that I can create with this in a different theme, but undertone interconnectivity is what I think that's the kind of main theme that I'm going.
Tomo, that is really fascinating. And I was reading on your site how with your fiber art installations, you're actually taking used clothes like from family and friends, right? And that has its own energy and power. So that's kind of amazing, right? Like, and Cartavio said that he could feel your pieces. Well, because they come from other people too. So it's like you're channeling other people's magic. And talk about that for me.
Yeah, so when I started making rope, rope came to my mind end of 2016, when the first election that Trump got elected, and like I see the surge of hate crimes and so much of hate talks, and I felt really disconnected. And the people who I thought I was connected was kind of disconnected. I felt disconnected, and I was looking for something to tie or connect. And then somehow rope came to my mind. And then I thought it was because Japanese have this ritual to called shimenawa. We use rope to like mark sacred territory or like a connection to the nature world, or like it's everywhere. You see 200-year-old tree and then it's wrapped around the tree, and then a really old rock or like a gate of shrine, or it's a sacred rope. So
Gotcha.
I grew up seeing those, so I thought maybe that's why it came to my mind. There's another, but then it's actually my mother told me that my grandmother's birth family had a rope manufacturing business, which I didn't know. So it's a family business. So when I started making rope, first I had like, okay, well, I can spend $40. And I order some from Home Depot, order some from Amazon, and I got this manufactured cotton rope. And it was just like, I don't know. Like they don't look like they don't. So I watched some YouTube tutorial how to make twine from the fabric scrap, and then I was just using my clothes to make rope. And then I just really got obsessed with it. And then I kept making ropes with like my neighbor's stuff. And I had a trash bag full of like ropes, and I had no idea how to make art with it. I just kept going. Like my daughter was 1 year old and I had to stay home. So yeah, so I got so obsessive with it. And then I developed carpal tunnel and then I had to pick up my daughter like this. And I like so bad. It's like, okay, here, baby. So then my mom was like, it's just so weird that you're making rope like you have to, because it must be hunted by the ghost of grandma's family. Uh, so that's when I found out that my, grandmother's family had a rope manufacturer. So I weave, and then as I posted on the Instagram and all that, and everybody has some things to get rid of. Summer camp shirt to like not very nice Sally, but has stains, so you can't wear them anymore. Something like some vintage stuff, some everyday things, and everybody gave me stuff, and it's nice. Like when I'm working on them, sewing them or weaving them, like I remember exactly who gave me which piece. And
Wow.
I think about them like, and I feel really supported. Art is a lonely work in a way. Like I'm in the studio home, like sewing one by one, and then it's a long time to be spending alone. But yeah, like those people who donated fabric for me, I know that they support my work, and there's a sense of community support to me. And then also like the complexity of multiculturalism. There's so many patterns and colors and they intertwine together. I want to suggest that it can be very beautiful, even jumbled up.
It sounds so beautiful. Like even the process, how you're connecting to, your whole ancestral background, and then you're bringing it here, and then you're connecting with your neighbors. I'm just really blown away by that, and even by you saying that it's an obsession in a sense too, right? Like you have to do this work. How long does it take to do a piece, and how do you know when you're done?
Rope work. So up till now, I would make a set of rope. And then because they're not for sale, I can use the same ropes to create something else for another project. But I'll keep making more. Big ones, it takes like a whole day to make one. These were a bunch of like 6 feet ropes, and I was making maybe 2 or 3 of them a day. Can't do any more than that at one day, Yeah, so it's kind of like every time I have a new project, they can mutate, so I don't have to make a lot of. But a few projects recently, I did actually sell them. I was able to sell as a commission piece, so that I had to let go, so I'll have to start over. But yeah, it's interesting. Like some of the things I do doesn't have a strong boundary of work and domestic work or domestic time. Like I'm sometimes just watching like Netflix and a twisting rope. So it wouldn't sit in next to my daughters. And that process can be if I'm like knitting something or making her Halloween costume, like its question is to who am I trying to please? But the work itself is same. Maybe it's okay like that. It's a 5 artist thing. Maybe it's like there's a line is very blurry between domestic something to that work itself. So sometimes like I'm spending like all day and it's still like waving rope, still like 10 p.m. and then it doesn't feel like work. Yeah, I
It's
enjoy
just
every
like
moment.
something does it makes you it sounds like it's something that you do, it relieves some kind of like stress or tension, or it just is nice to be doing something while you're watching TV or sitting with your daughter. Sometimes it's just that in and of itself feels good, it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Can
My
you watch TV doing this, or are you doing this not watching TV?
They're just listening to TV. So like sometimes like I don't know what actors look like, but I know their voice very well. Yeah. I like the narration kind of stuff so I can follow. Every once in a while I look up like, oh, okay, that's what's up. But yeah. Yeah, music is kind of like I can't quite do music and rope these days. I don't know. I just get too emotional or something. So like something a little bit dumber side of TV drama that I.
That's
now,
funny.
like, correct me if I'm wrong, and correct me if, frankly, if this has nothing to do with what you're doing, but you mentioned the spiritual ropes in Japan. You mentioned the fact that it's a family business and maybe you're being haunted by your grandmother's rope spirit.
Mhm.
But then I wonder also, my understanding is in Japan, objects have their own, there's a lot of meaning that each object can have. I think that's part of the Shinto tradition. And I wonder if that has also permeated into this kind of work where you're sort of giving reverence to the object and also the meaning behind the object, right? You mentioned that sometimes the object comes from friends. And I bet you when they come and bring you their stuff, there are stories behind each object. They're like, oh, I wore this shirt at camp, or this is the pants that I broke my ankle with, or something to that effect. Yeah, and you're thinking about all that stuff. I think that's a really beautiful thing. So does your Japanese tradition or any of that like sort of Shinto tradition come into play here?
Yeah, I think it more the cultural, like Shinto as religion, and there's something that I just kind of like, I don't want to be part of. But then beyond Shinto, there's always been like appreciation to nature, kind of like a Greek mythology. Like each, there are God in everything, and everything we own or we encounter is a God gift. So this is more ancient, like a Jomon period tradition, but so we share, and then we share the experience, and it's not so much of like ego and like ownership. And so like I think that is always, my mom is a strong believer of that, so I think I have a strong influence from my mom's philosophy about, like, she climbed mountain all the time, and then she always felt that nature supported, here's the god in the tree, and then here's the god in air and the river and the storm, and yeah.
I love that. I
It,
love that.
it's interesting though, because what I love about Uptown, Harlem, Wash Heights, Inwood is that we do have a lot of nature. Do you take
Hmm.
part? Well, like, what's your favorite park uptown?
Huh. There's like a oldest tree uptown, or like I think it could be oldest tree in Manhattan in St. Nicholas Park.
Okay, that's a beautiful
Okay.
park.
Yeah, and I would love to do something about that one day. Um, and there was another Korean artist named Jin Shin. Like we were talking about doing some kind of ceremonial performing art for the tree. It hasn't moved forward, but one of the projects that we wanted.
Yeah, but that's a really nice park as well. I love St. Nicholas Park. It's a really nice park.
That
Mm.
sounds like a great idea too. Whether or not it's the oldest tree, it is a tree that means something to you and to her and to a lot of the neighbors here. So that's beautiful. It'd be a
So it's
great
the
way to.
oldest tree in Manhattan. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think oldest tree in Manhattan or oldest tree in Uptown. I'm not sure, but I think Manhattan. Yeah, I have to
Yeah, it
just
makes
double
sense.
check that.
You moved to Uptown to Harlem and you've established your life here. You got married, you have children. You told us your original reason for coming uptown. It was like, I want to have more of a life than than just working and paying for this small apartment on 14th Street. And it sounds like you were successful. You have like a very rich life. So tell me how Harlem has like contributed to the richness of your life.
There's definitely a sense of community here where, like, a 14th Street, most of people live in an apartment and a very private and somewhat transient too. Like, people come and go. And then, like, I was friend with few neighbors down there, but that's it. And people here, you have to leave the house like about 10 minutes before you actually get on the train because somebody's going to stop you and start talking to you. So the other day I counted how many people I waved from like to my studio, which is like about 5 blocks, and like and then two people I stopped and talked, and like so there's a sense of community, and every day I meet new people. Not every day, but every week I meet new people. And yeah, I think a sense of community, like almost like a small village, almost block by block, and there are new people. Yeah, I think that's something I really like about here.
So, Tomo, we've been talking a lot about community. We've been talking a lot about how you've planted roots in Harlem, your family's in Harlem. Tell me a little bit about how being in community is helpful to you as an artist, but also just in general as you're raising your children.
Um, so last year we well, myself and two of mom friend decided to collaborate pickup. So we take turn and rotate. Like Wednesday I pick up two kids, and then Monday and Thursday and somebody else, pick up. So It's just a pickup, but our school is in Lincoln Center, so like Uptown moms, like why all of
It's a
us going to Lincoln
it's a
Center and
hike,
coming back, and
yeah.
then like maybe we could take turn and bring back the kids, and then sometimes we give each other some time. If somebody's like have some project, okay, well I can keep them till like 4:30, like, and then we were doing that every week, and then that gave us about 4 hours extra time to work, which was huge. Like I
Yeah.
may be coming up with some really great idea within that 4 hours time. So that was extremely helpful. And then the moms are from different background, different race, and like so kids are that too. So we have this special, bonding time, like 1 hour, a few hour after school. But it's been joyful way to spend time and collaborate and get some work done. So that kind of community effort, it's a small things, but I think small things changes a lot, changes many things.
Yeah, small things matter, and, number 1, it helps you to have more time to do the work. You and your friends have more time to do whatever work that they need to be doing or whatever chores they need to be doing, and B, you're getting friends by doing this, people
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I think we'll be lifetime friends, by this, and then we're definitely much closer. And yeah, I think, none of us, because they are performing artists and I'm visual artists, and like none of us have money to hire like after school pickup babysitter. So yeah, like it's been great for us.
That's a beautiful thing. That is a really beautiful thing.
The last episode we had Dianis Ortiz and Solio, and what I find super interesting about there is this community of artists, right? That look out for one another. That hey, there's an opportunity here in arts organizations that I think makes Uptown very special. Harlem, Wash Heights, and it's very interesting. And it's like it's very nurturing. Can you talk about that arts community that exists, that arts ecosystem that feeds a lot of art and artists Uptown?
Yeah, I think we do. So from the very beginning, I was able to start showing my work right away after from that transition from that design world to art, because of that support. And now that I've done like about 200 projects, that I can share my experience with others who's trying to start or like trying to restart. And yeah, I think of artist connection and artist to artist, like there are only some, not that many curators, and they don't have time to talk to everyone, but there's that whole introduction and, something that's shareable. I think we do share. I was in a summit called Equality Summit in Atlanta. Their interracial, multicultural summit to talk about equality, and I presented my rope work. That was the introduction from our studio mate, Martha Mai Jones, and older, almost like a mentor, like person from Wausi Collaborative, Otto Neal, introduced me to a gallery called Dulce Fine Art. And I did 2 artist shows there. And then when the gallery director came to my studio, she's coming from like hour and a half away, Brooklyn. So like I thought like, well, maybe we could make it entire studio visit instead of just my studio visit. So I told everybody else, like, okay, well, she's coming. So I don't know how long she has time, but be there if you want to meet her. And then she, after my show, with Mina Cooper Grant, got in their show and then did the beautiful 2 artist show. And then so there's things that's totally shareable, and we elevate each other, open the door that we thought we couldn't open. Yeah, there's a competition. And then there's also, I think the artist background, like how do I say it? Like different direction. There are people who pursue academia and shooting for like a museum career. And there are people who's doing a lot of commission and working with a commercial gallery and like really trying to sell the work, or like, then there are people who are craft artist who does more like a vendor kind of work, and then they'll like everything is good, but so there was something that we can share as for technique, the materials, places. I think a friendly conversation. I think we can share everything with everyone.
Yes, it sounds like there's some friendly competition and also quite a bit of collaboration that's happening over there. And
Because I had a little different background. Like I didn't actually go to grad school, and I was working CNN and a few other media companies. So I'm almost kind of a self-taught artist, even I went to art school. So in the beginning, like I just looked at some artists' CV and then see what kind of residencies they've done, like just like people I admire, like I want to have their career. So I was looking at how they got there. And then I was trying to kind of follow their footsteps. But if you keep getting rejected by residency, and then now just the application, and I start getting depressed, like, okay, I'm just not good enough to compete in this. I really just like, okay, well, if I can go back to time and then maybe at some point I should have gone to grad school, like should done this, like there was just some regrets and some dilemma and a timing that I had my child. Yeah, I don't have like a grandma to help me, like it's all my husband operation. So yeah, so there was that, but like I think I just decided not to set up goal. That was the solution. Like if I say like, okay, well one day I want to be in the Whitney, or one day I want to be in this, or like I want to have this person's career. No, I guess that's not for me. You know, I think I should be proud of surviving the corporate job, and we saw the world from newsroom, and that's every day for so many years, and that's valuable. That's my strength, my passion and dedication. So yeah, like wherever my work is appreciated, I'll go there. I'll just keep creating good work. That's all I can do.
But what I find fascinating about your story, though, is that what you went through is what I went through as well, right? Like I have to have a job, right? I can't pursue other things because you have to produce, right? And but you took a leap of faith, right? That was a leap of faith that's now has been like 16 years. You've been rewarded, right? You're living the life that you want to live, which you could have continued on another route. What do you say to that artist that's going? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that got that inner artist
Mm.
that they're not tapping into, right? That they're just asleep inside. What do you say to that person?
I guess keep moving hands and keep doing it, and then like even small like nonprofit like community art shows, or like even cafe show, like show your work, let people know you're doing it. Even if you didn't get in any of that, and use Instagram, like there's so many platforms to share your work, and then unless you share it, nobody knows you're doing that, right? Like where
Very
you are
true.
and what you wanna do. So, I mean, there some people wanna be private, I understand, but that I think, the time that especially like I was home with my baby and nobody to help, that's when I really started doing Instagram and start making ropes. So, like, now I'm in, like, a really respected exhibitions with my rope installations. That came from time that I just couldn't even go out anywhere. So yeah, like I think there are find your way, kind of like, whatever it is, just keep making and keep showing work in the way that you can. Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to turn a little bit about to the conversation to talk a little bit about again Harlem and living in Harlem, because although it's got a lot of community and you've been supported tremendously by your neighbors, it's not always been, perfect. So there's been challenges there. You want to speak a little bit about some of the challenges that you've seen during your time here in Harlem?
Especially around pandemic, when Asian population of any kind of Asian were blamed for COVID-19. It was one of the hardest time. And then just to realize that there are baseline, I don't want to say hate, but like maybe distrust to, or like I thought I was part of community, but then maybe I wasn't. And then some stereotype was just became very obvious. And Worst one, like, so there's some time that people throw a beer bottle at me. Yeah, they tell me to go back to China. I can't go back to China. you know, I would love the food, but I can't. And I think the worst one was like a woman pulled my hair from behind and I almost fall. And like I think most hurtful thing was my daughter was often there with me to observe, and I can't explain what just happened. We're a mixed family, so it just really hard to take it myself. And there was just no platform to defend myself. And there's
Yeah.
still kind of stereotype of like very race conscious kind of distrust in Uptown community where not everybody, of course, but there are just baseline feeling for some people. And no matter what I do, doesn't matter. And that is tough. Then I'm just gonna like one day say like, no, then I don't want to do it. I don't have to do any of this. There are people like I had my next door neighbor, former next door neighbor, volunteer for food bank every Saturday for 20 years. She's a white woman. And she was kind of never accepted as like, this in my building. uh, Like, and it's just something like, okay, so what we do doesn't matter. Like, is it all about like who your ancestries are? Like, I think identity or like that kind of thing is so focused on the race, but what we do every day, it matters to me more. And then I want to personally, like, I guess I could just be in Japan and be with my family, but I wanted to see the world. I wanted to make friends from people from all over the world. New York City, you could do that. I enjoy everyone and everybody's culture like that. And then I feel like we could do that more, you know. And my I guess my so from that those kind of dark day, I told myself I'm not gonna just sit quietly about that discrimination that I experienced, but how do I become more human to those people that who doesn't want to see me as the same people? And instead of like a protesting or screaming and being like making like ugly statement, like I think I want to show up to places gracefully with big smile. I'm not a threat. I'm a person. I'm a mother. I'm somebody's daughter. Yeah, then enjoy time together, saying we don't have to become friends, but we could wave hands, say hello, and over to some time, like I think we can feel good. Like I think I'm already seeing some changes. Some people who say hello to my husband and always like ignore me. After like 12 years, this man finally say hello to me the other day. Like I want oh, my smile.
Yeah. I'm sorry that you've I feel for you. And I think a lot of folks, we're living in a time right now where it's so easy for other people to other each other, to say they don't see you as a person or as a human. We're living under a dictatorship practically with this Trump who's making it easy for everybody to just be hateful. But also in Uptown, there's a lot of people who are feeling very vulnerable about their position in Uptown, and they don't know how to express that. And unfortunately, it comes out in these ugly ways. And there's also the fact that many times a lot of people just don't know how to process when they see somebody who doesn't look like them. And so we all need to, it's a work in progress. There's plenty of, I think that your work is pushing things to the better, to the more positive. I think that when you show up in spaces with your beautiful smile and with your artwork, that's making everything better. And when you show up in spaces with your family, your beautiful family, your artistic family, because your husband is a musician and your daughter is also like, musically inclined. So all those things, I hope that they continue to improve and that the community around you recognizes you for the bright light that you are. And yeah, I would just say thank you for sharing that, and let's all do better, right, Led?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just uncalled for. And so, how else did the pandemic affect you, right? Because, the pandemic is one of these phases for all New Yorkers, and everyone was different.
Mhm.
And I found like that some people, in certain ways, it also developed their art or their whatever they were doing. How did the pandemic, other than that horrible, phase, how else did it impact you?
So there was a time alone, and the same time, like Black Lives Matter movement was like around the same time of the pandemic, and everybody was trying to speak out from like not just African American issues, but kind of like a speaking out for your group or like other group, or like there's a lot of political talk. And I spend some time listening to all media, different direction. And also I spend some time to relearn the history. I didn't want to speak out and say inappropriate things or wrong things historically. So to be accurate, it's just like I would assign myself like 2 or 3 country a day, and then I'll just start from the beginning. And yeah, from like Albania to Kyrgyzstan to like everywhere, like that kind of became my hobby for a while. Like, and then watch things because people can talk about history in different way, different direction, and also my own country's like a war and the positions, and yeah, like that's how I kind of spend that time. And also I'm kind of continuing to do that. Just every day I learn about, so like when I do meet someone from Kyrgyzstan, like I know how to connect, the
Yeah,
relationship Japan and Kyrgyzstan too. Like it's just like I don't, I don't have to be afraid to talk about, something.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The reason I came to New York and there originally was because, well, like you, and I wanted to be in the arts. Actually, I don't know if you know this about me, but I came to New York. I wanted to be an actor, but like you, I didn't really have the financial, support to feel comfortable like diving into that kind of work. And then I sort of ended up at CNN, and I saw that as a place of stability where I could live and work and have a life. But I did sort of like give up some of that dream of like acting. But what I also wanted from New York was an international city, and I think that New York absolutely is an international city. And I hope that as an international city, like, it's interesting. Uptown is a very international place. There's people from all over that are living here. Yesterday I went to a taco place that was halal, and it's run by Pakistanis. And I met 2 guys who were from Pakistan who were here in Uptown because of the World Cup. And we had a conversation. It turns out we were the same age, and
Yeah.
we shared a little bit of stories there. But it's so cool. And that was happening on 207th Street. You know what I mean? It was really so cool. So, for all the misunderstanding that some people might have, the fact of the matter is that ultimately we still live in this amazing tossed salad of a city of different cultures and different ethnicities. And for those of us who dive into that, for those of us who really, like that, it can be a very happy existence.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just said tossed salad and it threw me off. So it was like that was it's a
Yeah.
weird phrasing.
Well, cause I don't like to call it a melting pot, cause we're not
Healthy.
and they're not all like
Not
glommed
melted, yeah.
together into the same thing. All of us, when I'm talking about a tossed salad, I mean you got like a tomato here, and you got a
Yeah.
mushroom over here.
No, but the term tossed salad has like another, like another significance. So it was just a weird thing.
Yeah, but that's you got to take it there. You know what I mean? Why do you have to take it there? I know.
But that's a famous saying for Chris Rock. It's a famous saying. So I was like, what? But again, Tomo, I think it's beautiful. What you bring to the community, and for people to, how do people find out about you? Like, give me the socials, the URLs, where they can find your work, where right now they can see your work.
So my Instagram is Tomo Mori art, and also my website is tomomoriart.com. Yeah. So yeah, I welcome all the followers.
Yeah.
But where's your work present right now? So right now you have the Wallach Gallery. Anywhere else right now where we can see your work?
My studio is at the Children's Art Carnival. It's a little bit too hot right now, so I'm working at home this month. But I'll be back when I come back from Japan. And also, yeah, I think I just do whatever comes to me. So like I could be, it's like I'm religiously posting everything that where I'm gonna be. So join me
Awesome.
Yeah, join
Also,
on.
I have some fabric art sort of things that on the 53rd Street, Lexington Avenue office building. It's a public lobby.
Wow.
You could hear like a grand piano playing in the lunchtime, and it's actually really huge. I just hang as many rope that I owned there. Yeah, project by Art and Avenue. So
Art on the Ave. Okay, yeah.
they're also very they've been big supporter of my art since 2021.
Okay. Well,
That's amazing.
Tomo, thank you so much. Everybody who's listening, go to Wallach Art Gallery at Columbia University on 129th Street, kind of all the way on the west side of Manhattanville. That's where you'll see Tomo and
in Harlem.
and her
Harlem.
in Harlem.
It's no Manhattanville. Harlem. Ain't no Manhattanville. It's Harlem.
All right, that's true. It's Harlem, 129th Street, all the way on the west side. Thank you so much, Tomo.
Thank you.
Tomo, thank you so much. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. We're proud that Uptown Voices is now a fiscally sponsored project of the Maisels Documentary Center. This means we're able to accept tax-deductible contributions to support our production. You'll see a QR code on the screen right now. Scanning that is the easiest way to invest in local media and help us keep telling these inspiring Uptown stories. We appreciate your support more than we can say. Thanks for listening to Uptown Voices.